If you've been watching our YouTube channel, you know that we went to Triad Demo Day 2019 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where VCs and some of the 50 of the greatest startups came together for a conference for them to pitch their services and then possibly get funded by VCs. Foundry was honored to cover this event, and we talked to a lot of people at the event. Now, one of the people that stood out to me was Christy Brown from Loeb.atl. Loeb.atl is a kind of a venture capital fund, and they say we have venture capital, but we're not venture capitalists. And one of the things that's very unique about this company, as you'll learn in our interview, is that they also provide all of these back office services to the founder or the person that's trying to do the startup. So if you're just a coder, but you don't know about accounting or legal or all these other things, they come alongside you and provide these services to you. I thought their model was traditionally very fascinating. And what's very interesting in this, and I want you to pay attention when you watch it, is that they're 92% successful at doing this. It's not true for all VCs. Some VCs invest in 100 and hope 5 make it. This company is trying to hit a home run every single time with everyone they let into their company. So check out Christy Brown with Loeb.atl as we talked about how to get funded. Hey, so welcome back to Demo Day 2019 here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're at the biotech place, and I'm here with Christy Brown from Loeb.atl. They are sort of like a venture capital, but not really. So tell me exactly what your spin is on this and getting startups in the industry.
Yeah, so Loeb.atl is actually an expansion out of our home base in New York. We expanded into the Atlanta marketplace about a year ago. Our focus is providing funding for seed to series is our sweet spot. So growth stage companies that are maybe taking their next step out of their MVP, or they're fully in market and looking for an investor that understands and partners with them. We actually have built what we call a studio collective.
Okay. And
we insulate companies that we invest in inside our Atlanta office and provide all of the shared services to support, scale, and grow them for their long-term success.
Okay, that's very interesting, because that is different than what a VC does. So typically a VC will write you a check, and then everyth's on you at that point. You
Correct.
got to figure out things like, especially guys that we talk to that are coders, they're more focused on like, I'm going to build my app's going to change the world, but they don't know how to send out the bill so they can get paid. So they need, or they didn't know how to like make a contract and they kind of lose the company over those kind of back office things. Talk more about how does that work for these people that get in there?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we are very founder focused, and we're kind of, even though we are venture capital, we are not venture capitalist. We operate a little more traditionally like a family fund.
Okay.
We have private money, so we're not in a rush to deploy capital, so that's the first thing.
Right.
Secondly, we're very deliberate about our investments. So those folks, guys and girls that are in the back room coding and wanting to build their first company, we really would be focused on that because we're founder focused.
Right.
However, I would also go back to know your strengths.
Yeah.
So if you're a coder in a back room wanting to grow a company, you likely need someone to help you grow the company, be that another COO, CEO to help you do that. Not every coder is going to be able to change the world with their code, right?
Exactly.
I've been there.
Right. So I've started several companies on myself. What for you, when you're out here now as an investor, I know that you were an entrepreneur yourself as well. When you're interviewing prospective people, what's the thing that they should take advice from you? Like, in other words, I know that you meet people and they just kill their deal because they did something. What should they be mostly concerned about when they get an audience with you?
Yeah, that's again another great question, because I've been on both sides of the table. I've killed my own deals, and I've killed deals in front of me. And in my own experience as a founder and having exited my own companies, I would kill the deal by not really knowing my market.
Okay.
Market is extremely important, and knowing the value of what you have built and so on, not being eager to raise money just because it's the popular thing to do, but rather taking a step back and really understanding, hey, I've got a profitable company, do I really need to go there? So that's the founder hat I would put on.
Yeah.
On the opposing side, as an investor, I probably meet with 10 or so companies a week that pitch.
Right.
They have every opportunity to be successful or use me for advice, right? And my team. Because it's certainly not me making all the decisions. I have really instrumental analysts who are way smarter.
Right.
That sit at the table, and those founders that aren't focused on their marketplace, don't understand their customer acquisition, be that the financial aspect of it or how they get it,
right,
or how they're going to make money in the roadmap 3 to 5 years from now is really a deal killer for us.
right. Okay.
And trying to help them and give them advice that isn't received for the next investor is very disheartening, because at the end of the day, we really want to keep that founder focus and continue to shake hands and help them go to the next level, right? So that's kind of the deal killer for me.
Yeah, so when I talk to people, we talk to a lot of people that come to our school.
Yeah.
A lot of them are coming to learn how to code, but they're also bringing an idea. And so while they're with us, I pitch them, there's 3 phases to your game. I want to see if you want to talk about this a little bit. The first one is what you said, MVP, or your minimal viable product. Always counsel them first, like, get to there as quick as you can. If you stay in development for like 20 years, I mean, you're never going to get to market.
Yeah.
So you have to make concessions somewhere so I can just start showing it to somebody. Do you see people like waiting too long in that development cycle, or?
Yeah, I see corporations do that.
Right. Yeah.
Startups are very eager,
Right.
but you also can't be a feature freak, right? You hear that term a lot.
Right.
Don't get bogged down in how many features you can go to market with. You've got to really expose, especially in the MVP, what the market is going to have an appetite for.
Right.
So feature freak happens in big old corporations that can't move fast enough to change their product.
Right.
In a startup, we have to be agile enough to be able to identify the top 3 or 5 things that get us to market, that make us grow revenue, and then you start identifying, kind of features later on.
Or your pivot, or whatever.
Or you pivot, and that happens. That's a natural occurrence, and
Right.
people are scared to use that word, but pivot happens.
Right.
I feel like we need a bumper sticker that says pivot happens.
Right.
It definitely is kind of on the front end of that.
And that's why I talk to people all the time. It's like, if you get your MVP out there and then you show it to 100 people, guess what? Those 100 people may give you a fantastic idea that you never thought of that could take your company to the next level. And you're like, well, I thought I was going to do this, but wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think I can roll that into my MVP. So what do you think about that? Or showing it to people early on, and how fast do you want them to show their idea?
Yeah, so I'm all about the lean startup program. But that being said, about a year ago, I kind of did a reverse. And I got really ingrained in something I called the mom test.
Right.
And there's a book actually called The Mom Test that I would recommend any developer or future founder read.
Right.
What I have found and what this methodology is if you can't explain this to your mother in sensible, understandable ways that they're going to use your product,
Right.
they're not going to use your product, and
Right.
they're not going to take it to market. So not only, kind of having that combination of lean startup with, being able to pivot and identify what features are really important, user experience is massive.
Right.
And, we can throw a big app out there and say, this is going to change the world, but here's the only 3 things it does today. And that can create market adoption. But until you test that market, that product market fit,
You don't
who
know.
knows?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah. So the second thing that I taught
So I
them,
tested on my mom. That's,
exactly.
That's the story.
I think that's funny because I would have to really, for my mom, I'd have to really kind of really bring it down to earth so she can understand, even what Coder Foundry does. So what is coding? So like you would ask me that,
Yeah, and the other thing is, look, if we're developing an app that we think is going to change the world, then it better change all the world.
Right, exactly.
All aspects, meaning your mom and my mom probably need to understand how to use that.
Right.
And if you can't test and learn from that generation, this generation, and all of us, then it's not going to change the world. It's going to change just a small speed.
Yeah, your audience.
Spike.
It's just going to change your audience as well.
Yes.
You want to change the whole world.
And as an investor, I want to see big life-changing things, because that's how you 10 or 20x the value of your investment.
All right, so I think the other really tough question that startup people get, especially ones like our audience, they're very kind of technical focused. They're inside the technology and they want to talk to you in buzzwords or whatever, but then you ask them so let's talk about customer acquisition, and they don't really know how to go to market. So what's an advice for someone that's not traditionally a salesperson, but he's got to have a plan, or she's got to have a plan. Somehow, how do you get people to buy your thing?
Yeah, that's tough because I also think you have to know your strength.
Right.
Oftentimes we see founding teams, 1 or 2, 3 people. They've got a CEO, CFO, CTO.
Right.
None of them have any sales background, and it's hard for them. It's very challenging. And so they're just trying to get enough seed capital so they can go hire the right talent, right? They know that's not their strength. But you have to have someone that can talk the talk and convey the message, and it's very uncomfortable for a lot of them. It's not uncomfortable for you and I, but I also am not comfortable coding on a keyboard 9 hours a day.
Exactly.
So, understanding your strength and really kind of pushing that to help convey your message, it's really clarity to an investor. It's tell me what it is, how does this do it, and how am I going to make money?
Exactly.
How are we going to all make money doing it? Not that, total capitalism, we do mission-based as well, but the point is we got to understand it.
Well,
and
even the right cost needs money. I mean, money makes everything work. And I think sometimes in today's society we look at it as a bad word, like I'm in this to make money. But in other words, you have to do that. So even if you're changing the world or feeding hungry kids, if you can't pay the people to do that, your mission doesn't get accepted. So you have to make money somehow. So how do you focus in on branding? Do you worry if the founder can brand the company? And we know that branding and marketing is different than sales. Like, how do you look at those kind of things? Do you say, can this person brand this thing? Or because brand is kind of like the thing that attracts people to your product or service.
Yeah, look, I'm lucky at Loeb because we're a branding machine. Our DNA is marketing, branding, media. So I don't worry about that because I know any company that we look to invest in, we've got a machine to put around it and insulate the entrepreneur and the founding teams with the ability to scale and grow. We have a branding division that solely focuses on branding and communications. We have marketing and digital assets that help them kind of do what they need to do. We really want to take the monkey off the back of all the founding teams so that we can just scale and grow their business. So branding doesn't scare me, but your question really is around how to get branding and how do they convey that, and that's a challenge because look, you start with one company name and change it to another, and that happens. I've done it, and I've just told people this is the new name. Welcome aboard. But it has to have a meaningful connection with whoever you're selling to or whoever's using your solution or product.
Well, the thing that I'm really interested in now that I've heard you talk a little bit is why do you think more VCs don't operate this way? Because it seems to me that the reason you do this is because you want to put capital to work, but you'd also like to see your capital actually succeed. And so instead of trying to say, let's invest in 100 companies, I hope to make it, you're trying to say, okay, we can make the home runs more frequent by giving the things, the reason people fail is because of all these other kind of side things.
Yeah, again, I feel like I'm in a kind of a gifted world. Michael Loeb built, several really amazing companies, and he said, let's flip the funnel on this VC thing. We love VCs, we co-invest with them. But they like to co-invest with us because of the shared services model. And we do flip the funnel. So instead of, kind of an 8 to 10 failure rate, we see more of a 92% success rate in our investments. And it's because of this insulation of being able to help them, and as an entrepreneur, sitting on the floor at night doing all your invoices is not the best use case of your time.
Not always.
And especially if it's not your skill set, and then you got to go, kind of audit the books, and that's not your skill set either.
Do taxes.
Yes, do taxes, and you just want to find the resources that can help you. But you got to get the money to do it. So we do flip the funnel, and we invest a little bit differently, but it also allows us to be deliberate and intentional about the companies that we invest with, because it is a marriage and it is a partnership. And we want to be at their table as an advisor, and we want them at our table as well as part of the family. And so it's very important that kind of communication, exchange, and relationship is developed when we're analyzing the investment.
So one last question, I'll let you get out of here. If there's a startup person listening right now, what's the best way to get on one of your 10-day, you said you did 10 a week, how do they get in one of those to get the hour with Christy Brown? You know, so I can
the hour of power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
We actually have a very easy communication stream. So we have a application they can go to at Loeb.nyc/Atlanta.
Okay.
Loeb.nyc/Atlanta. It's pretty simple, and it's 10 questions. You can upload your pitch deck, and we literally look at these every Monday as a team.
Wow.
We go through, give feedback, set up video pitches, and kind of go through the process. So that's the easiest way.
Okay.
It is very much, it's very important to us that the experience is a great one. So we always go through and have communication back to all the companies.
Okay. What I would encourage the group out here, if you're listening to this, is like, if they can get on your thing, I would believe that is the best use of capital that you can get because of all these shared services. They may have to relocate to Atlanta, but hey, Atlanta's not a bad place to live. You know, it's pretty cool.
It's a great place to live.
It's a hot city, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I'm there. It's amazing.
Exactly. So anyway, Christy, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you
so
coming
much.
in. So that was my conversation with Christy Brown at Loeb.atl. And one of the takeaways I think you should learn about that is that company surrounds your startup with all of these shared services, and their success rate is astonishing at 92%. And so if you could get in with those people, I think it would give you the best chance for success with your new startup venture. The other thing that I think is very interesting that you should take away from this is there is no better time than now to being in the software business. So you may want to look at taking your idea to the next level by learning how to code so that you can get into this, what I'm calling the coding revolution. It's happening while we speak. And we're going to look back on this time in life as a golden age of startups and wealth building and product building and company building. And I think that a lot of people out there that are watching this could take advantage of this if they just knew how to code. Coder Foundry would love to be that partnered up with you, to be your mentor, your teacher, your coach, to get you into that first software job. So if you're interested in learning how to code, Coder Foundry would be honored to be that person to help you do that. Go to coderfoundry.com/job roadmap, and let's start you on that first coding career. I hope this helps. Good luck, and keep coding.